Frequently asked questions. Can a last-minute exchange be set up? Can a taxpayer at the very last minute convert an otherwise taxable sale into a 1031 tax-deferred exchange? And the simple answer is yes. As long as the burdens and benefits of ownership have not transferred from the seller to the buyer, a 1031 exchange could be set up at the very last minute. So there's some things that need to be done to accomplish this. Number one, immediately stop the closing. Number two, contact asset preservation right away and explain you have a transaction that's closing right now and you need to have 1031 exchange documents prepared and forwarded right away to that closing. Once we prepare the 1031 exchange documents and then forward them on to the closing officer or the escrow officer or closing attorney, the seller, the taxpayer performing the exchange, and the buyer can sign the appropriate 1031 exchange documents and convert that from a taxable sale into a 1031 tax-deferred exchange. Now, to set up an exchange, we need a few pieces of information. Number one, we need the taxpayer's contact information, so their name, email, phone, address. The closing officer's contact information, so that would be their email, phone, fax, address, and file number. We would need the sale property address, so the address and the county it's located in. The qualified intermediary needs the buyer's vesting. We would need a copy of the purchase and sale agreement, sometimes referred to as a sale contract. If there is a title commitment that's available, and depending upon the timing, if it was just opened up, the title commitment may not be available, but if it is, that should be forwarded over to the qualified intermediary. And all of this gets forwarded to asset preservation. And from there, we prepare all of our 1031 exchange documents and send them on over. So we prepare a 1031 exchange agreement, an assignment agreement, so assigning the right to sell the relinquished property to the buyer. We prepare a notice of that assignment for the buyer. We send over exchange account forms, so we need to set up a separate account for that taxpayer. And then an intermediary also prepares the closing instructions, very detailed step-by-step instructions to the closing officer. What changes need to be made in the settlement statement to properly document a 1031 exchange versus that taxable sale? And then finally, we provide instructions on where and how to wire the exchange proceeds at the end of the exchange transaction so they come over to asset preservation as a qualified intermediary. To review your specific 1031 exchange situation, contact Asset Preservation's headquarters in California at 800-282-1031 or our Eastern Regional Office in New York at 866-394-1031. Please read the full disclaimer, as Asset Preservation cannot provide tax or legal advice.